Within the waters between the black abyss and the seafloor, Wang Lin and the breathtaking ocean child Heavenly Venerable were locked in a fierce battle. The ocean child Heavenly Venerable unleashed a strange divine art, spitting out a mouthful of blood as the price. From it, she condensed an oval-shaped seal containing 96 divine arts. Mysterious and unpredictable, it shot straight toward Wang Lin. Though shocked, Wang Lin met it head-on with the Heavenly Bull charge. In an instant, the enormous shadow of the Heavenly Bull collided violently with the oval seal. As the seal swelled, a deafening roar erupted, shaking the very waters. The sea seemed ready to split apart, the shockwave spreading like a deadly strangulation. The ocean child Heavenly Venerable's face turned pale as her body was hurled backward. This move, taught by her master, carried immense power. Though she could not perfectly wield its second form, even the first was enough to make her nearly unrivaled beneath the transcendent, Heavenly Venerable realm. But today, she had met Wang Lin. Wang Lin too staggered back, his breath ragged. As the Heavenly Bull shadow collapsed, the soul armor on his body also showed signs of dispersing. Almost at the very instant he retreated, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. His right hand shot up, and 97 afterimages appeared around him. With a sudden thrust of his finger, he pointed straight at the retreating ocean child Heavenly Venerable. Bind! 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 The body immobilization art, unleashed by Wang Lin for the second time before the ocean child Heavenly Venerable. At that very moment, the 97 afterimages fused with his true body, coalescing into that single terrifying finger. It descended upon her, filling her with both horror and humiliation. Wang Lin, you. Her words were cut short as her already injured body was frozen mid-retreat. With her essence spirit bound, and without the octopus sea beast to support her, she fell like a lifeless corpse, sinking toward the seafloor. Yet she had clearly come prepared. Even though Wang Lin had struck at the perfect moment, his technique only immobilized her essence spirit. Her eyes and mind still remained active. She glared at Wang Lin, fury and shame burning in her gaze. If not for her locked jaw, she would have ground her teeth in rage. Wang Lin had not used the body immobilization art upon first meeting her for two reasons. First, since she dared to confront him, she must have prepared some countermeasure against it. Therefore, the technique could not be wasted at the outset. It had to be unleashed at the most opportune instant. Second, even if he froze her, unless he gravely wounded or killed her before fleeing, she would soon break free and pursue him. Thus, rather than immobilize her immediately, it was better to wound her in open combat, then bind her afterward, ensuring she would not dare give chase. That was the upright path. Now, with the ocean child Heavenly Venerable bound, Wang Lin's body flickered. He was about to kick aside the octopus sea beast and drag the sea dragon upward. Almost unconsciously, his divine sense swept over her body, sinking deeper toward the seabed. But what he sensed made him freeze. They were not far from the bottom. As her body sank, just below her lay the black hole of the seafloor. From its depths, a faint ripple suddenly surged forth, racing straight toward the helpless ocean child Heavenly Venerable. Within the ripple, something strange seemed to stir, though his eyes could not make it out. Detected, non-immortal aura spirit. Seal it. A vague divine thought echoed through the waters, slamming into Wang Lin's mind. His expression changed instantly. Not dead. His scalp went numb. He knew all too well the power of that sealed visage he had encountered before. Without hesitation, he prepared to flee, but his body froze once again. Below, the ocean child Heavenly Venerable remained bound. Her essence spirit was locked, yet her eyes still saw clearly. She watched in horror as a blurred shadow emerged from the rippling sea, merging with the water itself, surging straight toward her. A life-and-death terror erupted in her heart, far greater than the battle with Wang Lin. In her entire life, she had never felt such dread, such suffocating fear. Her eyes widened. She could not move, could not resist. She could only stare as the shadow within the ripple rushed at her, emanating an aura of unspeakable horror. The ocean child Heavenly Venerable, who had always been unyielding, now revealed fear and weakness she had never shown before. Her body trembled, struggling desperately to break free of the body immobilization art. In that instant, The weight of life and death stripped away her dignity as a heavenly venerable. She seemed no longer a supreme cultivator, but a fragile woman, helpless before something terrifying, her eyes overflowing with despair. Within the ripples of the sea, the severed palm that had flown out of the black hole was madly spiraling. It seemed insane, indiscriminately targeting anyone it encountered, releasing divine thoughts such as the non-immortal astral spirit and seal-related powers. At this moment, if Wang Lin chose to flee, he could completely disregard the life or death of the ocean child heavenly venerable, turning around and escaping at breakneck speed, using her as bait to escape unscathed. However, in the instant of internal struggle, his eyes flashed, and he abruptly turned around. With a single step, his body shot toward the ocean child heavenly venerable below at incredible speed. I, Wang Lin, am neither a villain nor a sage, but I seek only to live without regret. The ocean child heavenly venerable holds no grudge against me. This is her cave, and she has the right to protect it from intruders. Wang Lin's speed was astonishing, covering 1,000 meters in an instant. The mountain and sea tree seal was activated because of me. Now, as it affects the ocean child heavenly venerable, her body is also locked down by my force. If I run now and abandon her, I, Wang Lin, would not be able to live with myself. If I can't live with myself, how can I go against the heavens? How can I use my will to revive Xun'er? With what conviction could I strive for the peak? Perhaps others could do it, but I, Wang Lin, cannot. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with resolve as he shot directly toward the ocean child heavenly venerable. This act was seen by the ocean child heavenly venerable, who, for a moment, was stunned. Wang Lin's speed was so fast that in the blink of an eye, he closed in on the ocean child heavenly venerable, coming within 40 meters of her. Yet, no matter how fast he could not outpace the severed palm, which was already less than 30 meters away from her, hidden within the sea's ripples. With bloodlust, with madness, and a wild fury, the severed palm gradually solidified in the sea. Its 5 fingers spread wide, rushing toward the ocean child heavenly venerable with an overwhelming force. Wang Lin could perform the body immobilization art, but he could not undo it. Unless faced with someone weaker than him, he could forcefully break it with a sweep of his hand. But the ocean child heavenly venerable was a heavenly venerable herself, her combat power far exceeding Wang Lin's. The gap in their true cultivation was immense. Wang Lin could not break his own immobilization in an instant. Moreover, the underwater world had been sealed by the ocean child heavenly venerable earlier, making teleportation impossible. As the severed palm neared the ocean child heavenly venerable, her body was about to be engulfed, and in that moment of desperation, Wang Lin let out a low roar. 5 divine veins within his body rumbled to life, spinning at the fastest speed possible, causing Wang Lin's body to explode with a velocity never before seen. This speed was the full force of the Godspeed art coursing through his body. It was so fast that, as Wang Lin moved forward, 97 afterimages appeared behind him, with the 98th image materializing as well. 98 afterimages, one true body, altogether forming 99. Relying on the extra afterimage from his full burst, Wang Lin's speed skyrocketed. Just as the severed palm was less than 3 feet away from the ocean child heavenly venerable, radiating a deadly aura, Wang Lin slammed into the space between the severed palm and the ocean child heavenly venerable with immense force, sending her body flying away in an instant. As the ocean child heavenly venerable's body was thrown backward, she saw Wang Lin's figure ahead. Her body trembled, and at that moment, she suddenly regained her ability to move. In the instant of her recovery, Wang Lin's right hand transformed into the bone-in blade, slashing toward the severed palm. The severed palm, having lost its target, immediately extended toward Wang Lin with a powerful grasp. Detected, non-immortal astral spirit, seal. The indistinct divine thought echoed, and Wang Lin's bone-in blade collided with the palm, creating a thunderous roar. In that roar, Wang Lin's body was thrown back, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. As he staggered, a soft and delicate body caught him, none other than the ocean child heavenly venerable. Biting her lower lip, She pulled Wang Lin's body and quickly retreated, heading toward the surface of the sea. Amid the thunderous sound, the severed palm was cleaved in two by the bone blade, but it did not dissipate. Instead, the two halves rapidly fused and swiftly pursued the two of them. The sea ripples surged, and the severed palm moved even faster than before, closing in at an unimaginable speed. In the blink of an eye, it was upon them, with no way for either Wang Lin or the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable to dodge. Wang Lin's left hand rose, delivering a powerful punch. As he threw the punch, 98 afterimages appeared around his body, all coalescing into a single fist that rushed forward like thunder toward the severed palm. At the same time, the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable waved her jade hand, forcibly expanding the oval-shaped array, which contained 90 divine abilities. Together, Wang Lin's punch and her array collided with the severed palm. The roar of the collision was deafening, shaking the entire sea. But in that instant, the ripple flickered, and the severed palm shattered, turning into countless shadow points that darted into Wang Lin's left hand. The severed palm was also the left hand's severed palm. At the moment countless shadow points drilled into Wang Lin's left hand, an intense pain surged from within, turning his face pale. This agony caused his body to tremble violently. As the shadow points gathered, they formed what appeared to be a black glove on Wang Lin's left hand. In the midst of this pitch blackness, the glove began to creep up his arm. This shocking scene made Xun'er's eyes widen in disbelief. Wang Lin's face was ashen, his eyes flashing with cold resolve. Apart from the excruciating pain, he felt no sensation in his left hand. It seemed as if it no longer belonged to him, and as the darkness spread, he could foresee that the areas it reached would be forever lost to him. Within his mind, as the shadow points condensed and transformed his left hand into something resembling a glove, a wave of intense disgust surged within him, as if water and fire could not coexist. The feeling was incredibly vivid and unmistakable. Without a moment's hesitation, a cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. His right hand raised the bone knife in an instant and slashed at his left hand. His left hand immediately separated from his arm, blood spilling everywhere as the severed hand drifted backward. In an instant, the flesh melted away, leaving only the skin of the palm, which fused with the seawater and began to drift back toward Wang Lin. Detected, not a mortal astral spirit. Seal it. Wang Lin's decisive actions gave Xun'er a moment of opportunity. Her face pale, she swiftly raised her jade hand, and a jade slip materialized. She crushed it with a forceful grip. As the jade slip shattered, a deep blue light screen immediately enveloped her and Wang Lin. Expanding outward, it grew to a size of tens of thousands of feet, surrounding the rapidly approaching sea dragon and the octopus sea beast. The light screen formed a tight defense, and within it, the sea dragon, the octopus sea beast, Xun'er, and Wang Lin were all pulled downward toward the seabed. The light screen quickly descended to the ocean's depths. The surrounding water, darkened by ink, turned pitch black, with only the occasional booming sound echoing from outside. Each time the sound rang out, the light screen would tremble, yet it held firm, unbroken. The severed palm continued to slam into the light screen, but was unable to break through. The booming noises grew louder and more intense. The light screen formed a half-dome shape. Beneath the sea, the only sound was the booming from the outside, and everything else was deathly still. Wang Lin, his expression grim, sat cross-legged nearby, eyes closed in meditation. The sea dragon, having reduced its size, spiraled beside him, glaring with hostility at the octopus sea beast floating next to Xun'er. At times, it would glance at the light screen, fear flashing in its eyes. The octopus sea beast glared back, as if the two beasts were sworn enemies. 100 feet away from Wang Lin, Xun'er's exquisite face was pale, her hair disheveled. Her expression was complex as she gazed at Wang Lin, her mind replaying the image of him shielding her just moments earlier. "Are you all right?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I shattered the life-saving jade slip given to me by my master. Once my master senses this, he should arrive soon. I still have some medicinal pills. Your hand." Xun'er quickly waved her right hand through the air, summoning a jade bottle. The bottle bore an ancient emperor character and radiated a powerful aura. Holding the pill, Xun'er approached Wang Lin, breaking one open and preparing to apply it to the severed stump of his left hand. At that moment, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly snapped open. "No need," he spoke coldly. His body shifted, retreating 100 feet, and he resumed his cross-legged meditation. His left arm, now missing a hand, was a mass of blood and flesh, but soon, a new hand began to grow back, thanks to the immense regenerative power of his tough body. Xun'er froze for a moment, then remained silent, about to speak when suddenly, her expression changed drastically. She looked up at the light screen, her face filled with disbelief, and Wang Lin's eyes also locked onto the screen. A sudden change occurred. The close proximity revealed a strange mark on the palm of the severed hand, clearly visible to both Wang Lin and Xun'er. However, this alone was not enough to cause such a drastic change in their expressions. What made their hearts tremble was that the severed palm suddenly expanded, rapidly growing from its original size to over 100 feet, then 1,000 feet. At a speed visible to the naked eye, the severed palm grew rapidly, and in no time, it had reached an enormous size, overshadowing the entire half-dome light screen. As the severed palm expanded and seemed to swallow the light screen, the entire screen began to flicker violently, sending ripples through it. Soon, the light within the screen vanished entirely, leaving only pitch-black darkness. Even so, Wang Lin and Xun'er, by focusing their cultivation into their eyes, could still see clearly around them. Wang Lin, in silence, noticed that his hair was faintly moving without any wind, floating slightly upward. "It has swallowed my jade slip's protective light screen and is moving rapidly." Xun'er's gaze flickered, and she spoke slowly. "What is it?" Xun'er turned to Wang Lin. 100 zhang away, Wang Lin lowered his head, gazing at the newly grown right hand. After a moment of silence, he slowly spoke. "The seal of the mountain and sea tree." Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's face was pale. With a bitter smile, he said nothing more. Sitting cross-legged, he stared into the pitch-black surroundings, lost in unknown thoughts. Time slipped by. Before long, the soul armor covering Wang Lin dissipated, and with it came a profound exhaustion that seeped into his mind. "Your master likely won't find this place for a while." That severed palm devoured the protective barrier, cutting off all contact with the outside, like a seal. Wang Lin sighed softly, looking upward into the darkness, his tone calm. "You only needed to take the mountain and sea tree spirit. Why provoke the seal as well? That seal was placed by the immortal progenitor, you." After a long pause, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's expression grew complicated as she looked at Wang Lin. "If not to save you, I would have already left the mountain and sea." Wang Lin glanced at her, speaking evenly. She fell silent. Time ebbed away in silence. 3 days passed. In those 3 days, they exchanged no words. At times, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable looked up at the light screen above, her expression ever shifting. Wang Lin, meanwhile, simply closed his eyes in meditation. He drew out several mountain and sea tree spirits he had acquired, taking one into his body. "Your cultivation is peculiar. Clearly you are only at the early void tribulation stage, yet you wield the combat power of a heavenly venerable. The mountain and sea tree spirit may help a cultivator condense the wood origin within the true origin of material essence. But for someone at void tribulation, even with more origins, reaching true mastery is nearly impossible. What use is it then?" After 3 days of silence, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable finally broke it, speaking softly as she watched Wang Lin absorb the spirit. "I am not the same as you." Wang Lin did not explain further. He opened his eyes briefly, his calm gaze sweeping across her. "You seem neither worried nor anxious here?" Her brows furrowed. Wang Lin stayed silent, closing his eyes once more, continuing to absorb the mountain and sea tree spirit. "My protective barrier was devoured. As you said, my master may not find us quickly. Even if he reaches the mountain and sea, if the severed palm has gone elsewhere, it will take time to track. We are cut off from the outside world. Are you not concerned?" She pursed her lips, frowning when Wang Lin ignored her. When he still didn't answer, Her beautiful eyes lingered on him. After a long time, irritation colored her expression. There are only the two of us here. You sit like a block of wood while I talk to myself. Do you find that amusing? Opening his eyes, Wang Lin looked at her, helpless. In this kind of place, I find it rather suitable for quiet cultivation. If only you would stop interrupting me. You. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable shot to her feet with a huff. Her graceful figure shimmered as she turned away, retreating several thousand zhang before ignoring him entirely. Watching her leave, Wang Lin shut his eyes again, immersing himself in the absorption of the mountain and sea tree spirit. Still, his divine sense spread outward, remaining alert. By his side, the sea dragon crouched low, glaring viciously at the distant octopus sea beast, which in turn fixed its gaze firmly on him. Neither roared, but their eyes locked in a silent battle, as though hurling curses with every glance, neither backing down. Time slipped away again. 10 days, 20 days, a month, 2 months, 3 months. In the blink of an eye, for months passed. Through it all, Wang Lin spoke not a word, wholly absorbed in the mountain and sea tree spirits. A faint green hue began to surface across his skin. The sea dragon at his side, after 4 months of this silent standoff, showed no sign of fatigue. If anything, it grew even more spirited, still glaring fiercely. The octopus sea beast, though weary, never withdrew, its eyes locked unyieldingly on its rival. Wang Lin, something isn't right. On one day of the 4th month, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable approached from thousands of zhang away. She sat down 20 zhang from him, worry etched across her features. Wang Lin opened his eyes, looking at her. After 4 months apart, her exquisite beauty now carried a trace of weariness. Yet even in that fatigue, her allure remained enough to stir the heart. My master would never take 4 months to find us. Once he knew I was in danger, even if the severed palm had left the mountain and sea, he would use divination and calculation to track it down. There's no way he wouldn't have appeared by now. Her voice betrayed her unease. Trapped here for months, she could never settle her mind, the sense of foreboding only deepening. 3 possibilities, Wang Lin said calmly. First, the severed palm went to a place undetectable by any means, beyond even divination and calculation. Second, your master is not as you imagine, ready to save you the instant trouble arises. It's impossible. If my master knew I was in danger, he would definitely come immediately. As for the first possibility you mentioned, it's also wrong. With my master's cultivation, there is no place on the immortal clan lands that he couldn't calculate. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable immediately spoke up, gazing at Wang Lin. After a slight hesitation, she added, "You should have guessed by now. My master is the great Heavenly Venerable Jyoti." Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, with no sign of surprise. When he had taken out the pill earlier at the Ocean Child Heavenly Clan, he had seen the character D, Emperor, on it. After a brief pause, he deduced that anyone who could take a Heavenly Venerable as a disciple, and someone like the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable who was so certain her master could save her, must have an astonishing level of cultivation. Putting 2 and 2 together, Wang Lin had already guessed that her master was most likely a grand Heavenly Venerable. Among them, only the Immortal Emperor and the great Heavenly Venerable Jyoti, who was located in the Central Plains, could possibly have the title Emperor. Then, that leaves the third possibility. This severed palm may be consuming the protective light barrier that surrounds us. Within it, time might pass differently from the outside world. Perhaps here, hundreds of years could pass, while outside, only a single day has gone by. Wang Lin spoke slowly, his voice calm. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's face immediately turned pale. She was an extremely intelligent person, and she had already considered this possibility. However, hearing Wang Lin voice the same idea confirmed it in her heart, at least 6 or 7 out of 10. This protective light barrier, though given to me by my master, cannot last for hundreds of years once the barrier is broken. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's eyes filled with fear as she recalled the severed palm. While the two were talking, the immense light barrier suddenly shook, a faint rumble echoing through the air. The barrier's vast range immediately contracted, shrinking down to 9,000 feet. At the same time, within the inky blackness outside the barrier, a blurry figure appeared. The figure floated there, staring at Wang Lin and the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable inside the barrier, exuding a faint but terrifying aura. Detected, not the immortal astral spirit. Seal it, the blurry figure muttered. As the barrier continued to shrink, the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable abruptly looked up, as if she had sensed the presence of the figure outside the barrier. Shrink this barrier to 100 feet. That way, we can resist for a little longer. Wang Lin, who also saw the figure outside the barrier, spoke in a cold tone. As he spoke, Wang Lin raised his right hand and waved it at the sea dragon. The sea dragon turned into a blue light and was absorbed into his hand. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable hesitated for a moment, but she too chose to retract the octopus sea beast. Then, with a flick of her fingers, she formed a seal and pointed at the light barrier. Immediately, the barrier flickered and condensed, shrinking from 9,000 feet down to 100 feet. Now, only Wang Lin and the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable were left within this 100-foot space. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable sat silently in a corner, letting out a soft sigh as she closed her eyes and began to meditate. As time passed, the 4th month, the 6th month, soon, a whole year had passed. 1 year may not seem long in the outside world, but for the two of them trapped in this small 100-foot space, it felt somewhat lengthy. Wang Lin, however, was fine. He was used to solitude. During this year, he fused with 2 mountain and sea tree spirits. His 5 elements origin now contained a budding wood origin, which was rapidly growing. As for the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable, after 8 months of silence, she finally opened her beautiful eyes, gazing at Wang Lin. The man before her made her feel both hatred and complexity. I've cultivated for years, but I've never stayed in a 100-foot space with a stranger for a year. I only know your name is Wang Lin. You mention where you come from, but which sect do you belong to? The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's voice was soft. I come from the 7 Paths sect. After a long pause, Wang Lin replied calmly. The 7 Paths sect? The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable thought for a moment. To her knowledge, none of the major sects were called the 7 Paths sect. The 7 Paths sect in the Eastern continent. It's a small sect. Wang Lin sighed quietly, feeling a sudden pang of homesickness as he spoke about his sect. I don't belong to a sect. I've been with my master since I was young, growing up on Dishan Mountain. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable said softly. Dishan is beautiful. Every year, during this season, the whole mountain is covered in red leaves, as if they are burning flames. If you ever get the chance, you should visit Dishan. As their voices mingled, a unique atmosphere began to fill the 100-foot space. With your Heavenly Venerable combat power, surely Dao E Grand Heavenly Venerable from the southern province must have tried to recruit you. Did you agree? The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's beautiful eyes locked onto Wang Lin. No. Wang Lin shook his head. My master is a good person. Why don't you follow him? The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable smiled and blinked as she spoke softly. I haven't considered it yet. Wang Lin did not directly refuse, but spoke gently. How many years have you been cultivating? The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable suddenly asked this question for some reason. Probably not as long as you. Wang Lin frowned. Upon hearing this, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable covered her mouth and let out a soft, charming laugh. It was the first time in a year she had laughed this way. With your cultivation, and with combat power that rivals a Heavenly Venerable, you remain trapped here, yet show not the slightest impatience. I suppose you must not have any dual cultivation partner. Otherwise, you would not be so free of worry about when you might escape. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable spoke with a smile in her voice. Wang Lin frowned again, sweeping his gaze over the breathtaking woman before him. A faint unease rose in his heart. Something about her felt off, different from before. Since you and I are both trapped here, and since you did not leave me behind earlier, why don't I, as your elder sister, introduce one for you? Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable seemed amused by the subject, her eyes studying Wang Lin. Ordinary in appearance, perhaps, but you carry a unique bearing. Not bad. Your cultivation is average, yet you wield Heavenly Venerable combat power. Very good. All in all, I find you acceptable. Once we are free, I'll find you a dual cultivation partner. Her eyes gleamed brightly as she spoke, her enchanting lips lightly pressed together in a teasing smile. "Put away your charm magic." Wang Lin's gaze turned sharp, his voice cold and deliberate. Her elegant brows arched, and she was about to retort when suddenly, golden light burst forth from Wang Lin's eyes. Under that light, his expression carried immense authority, and an invisible suppression force cut her words short before she could speak. "If you've been trapped here too long and need someone to talk to, Wang will find you a companion." His voice was stern. In that instant, an overlapping shadow stepped forth from his body. His slaughter-lightning true body manifested, sitting cross-legged directly between him and Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable. "You may speak to this avatar of mine. Do not disturb my cultivation again." A glint of icy resolve flickered in Wang Lin's eyes as he turned and strode to the farthest corner from her, sat down, closed his eyes, and began refining the third mountain and sea tree spirit. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable froze, clearly unprepared for such a response. Her brows knitted as she glanced at the icy figure before her, radiating slaughter and thunderous aura, its gaze locked on her. With a soft humph, she shut her eyes and also sat down to meditate. This Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable is strange. From afar, Wang Lin's true body narrowed his pupils ever so slightly as she entered meditation. I had thought the severed palm merely suffered some mishap, which was why it struck at her first instead of me. But now, it seems there is something hidden beneath the surface. Her changes clashed with Wang Lin's memory of her, yet he could not detect any sign of her being split into two souls in one body. Even when he scanned her earlier with the immortal extreme sword's gaze, he uncovered no trace of it. At first, she felt normal. But just now, she acted recklessly. Wang Lin's frown deepened, but after a moment's thought, he cast aside the matter and immersed himself in absorbing the mountain and sea tree spirit. Time slipped away. 3 years passed. Throughout those 3 years, Wang Lin ignored Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable entirely. He focused only on absorbing the tree spirits within his body. With each refinement, his wood origin power grew steadily. By the end of the 3 years, after consuming 4 tree spirits, his mastery over the wood origin had reached a small completion. Green patterns spread faintly across his skin, resembling the veins of plants. They gave his figure a strange, otherworldly aura. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable, for her part, never spoke a word. Like Wang Lin, she sat immersed in cultivation, her expression shifting from time to time as she practiced unknown divine arts. Every so often, muffled booms echoed from beyond the barrier, as though some massive force battered the light screen. With each passing year, these rumbles grew more frequent. The 100-zhang barrier even began to show faint signs of contraction. Then, in the 4th month of the 4th year, the roars suddenly swelled with unprecedented intensity, shattering Wang Lin's meditation. He lifted his head sharply. The moment he looked up, his expression changed. He leapt forward, and just as he moved, the 100-zhang light screen abruptly shrank in half under the booming assault. From 100 zhang, it contracted to just 50. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable also opened her eyes, stepping forward with a grave expression. The roar lasted nearly half an hour before it finally faded. The protective barrier was reduced to only 50 zhang. For Wang Lin and Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable, that distance was perilously close. Their gazes locked. This protective barrier, it won't even last 100 years. I've already condensed and shrunk it to resist the severed palm. But even so, after 3 years, it has been forced down to just 50 zhang. If it were still nearly 10,000 feet as before, scattered as it was, it might already have been shattered. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's tone and expression were different from years ago. Now she seemed to have regained her composure. It won't be long before this 50 zhang barrier shrinks again, until the light screen collapses. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable furrowed her brows, her face tinged with helplessness. A cold light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes as he looked up at the light screen. There, beyond the darkness, he once again saw a faint, blurred figure. The figure hid in the shadows, as though staring straight back at him. The instant their gazes met, Wang Lin's heart shuddered. It felt as if within those eyes outside the barrier lurked a strange power that tried to drag his soul away, spreading a restless energy throughout his body. Golden light flashed sharply in Wang Lin's eyes, and his mind cleared at once. It's been watching us all along, observing every move we make. For years, it has never stopped. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's voice trembled, her eyes filled with fear. It's a severed palm, Wang Lin said slowly. Then whose severed palm is it? His gaze flared. Before Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable could react, Wang Lin's body shot upward, heading straight toward the light screen. His sudden action made Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's face cloud with worry. Her body wavered, as if to follow. Don't come up. If you sense anything wrong with me, wake me immediately. Wang Lin didn't look back, but his voice rang in Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's mind. She froze, watching his back as he surged toward the barrier. That familiar figure reminded her of the moment years ago when Wang Lin had stood in front of her, shielding her. In an instant, Wang Lin reached the edge of the light screen. Just 3 inches from his face lay the glowing barrier. At that very moment, the blurred figure outside suddenly moved, rushing straight at him. It stopped abruptly, only 3 inches away from the light screen, no more than 6 inches from Wang Lin himself. It was a face without skin, a bloody, terrifying visage, yet carrying an unspeakable aura of majesty. Though vague and indistinct, its left hand was unervingly solid, as if truly existing, covered in flesh and skin. The moment Wang Lin glimpsed that ghastly face, his pupils contracted violently, his expression one of disbelief. Thunder roared within his mind, and his body jolted. The faceless eyes suddenly glowed with a strange light, lancing toward the barrier as though to pierce through and sink into Wang Lin's own. His mind exploded with noise, and he lost all sense of self. In his consciousness, those strange eyes became eternal, filling his soul with eerie power. A voice echoed endlessly. Come, come, come. At that moment, Wang Lin's heart thundered like a storm, its pounding roar clashing against that voice. The resistance jolted him awake. As he regained clarity, he heard Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's anxious cry, her fragrance brushing past as she stepped quickly to his side. I'm fine, Wang Lin said calmly. He was now just an inch from the barrier. One more step, and he would pierce through. As he spoke, the figure outside let out a furious roar, hurling itself against the light screen. The barrier shuddered violently, but did not break. Immortal progenitor. Wang Lin's gaze pierced the rippling light screen, locking onto the frenzied figure. That vague, skinless face looked strikingly similar to the immortal progenitor he had once seen. The figure howled and slammed against the barrier again and again, the light screen rippling wildly. Wang Lin's expression darkened as he fell back to the ground. The 50 zhang barrier shrank under the relentless assault, collapsing to just 30 zhang, forcing Wang Lin and Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable closer together. For half an hour, the figure battered the light screen before gradually quieting, glaring at them from outside, then retreating into the darkness, disappearing without a trace. This light screen won't hold much longer. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable bit her lip, gazing upward, then spoke softly after a long silence. Wang Lin remained quiet. What he had just seen gave him a sense that the severed palm concealed some deeper secret. Otherwise, why would it take the form of the immortal progenitor? Your master is Heavenly Venerable Jyoti. Have you ever heard anything about the immortal progenitor from back then? Wang Lin asked, his eyes glinting as they turned to Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable. Immortal progenitor? Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable glanced at Wang Lin. Wang Lin had just recognized that severed palm as belonging to the immortal progenitor, but he kept the thought to himself, saying nothing aloud. Thus, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable remained unaware of what Wang Lin had seen. I once heard my master mention it. Long ago, the immortal clan lands were but a single continent. It was the immortal progenitor who sealed away one after another of the extraterrestrial spirits that descended from beyond the heavens. Only then were there the current 72 provinces. And when the 72nd spirit was sealed, the immortal progenitor vanished without a trace. Even his descendants searched for a long time, but none knew the outcome. Yet my master once muttered to himself that perhaps the immortal progenitor had not truly disappeared. He suspected that back then, the immortal progenitor may have suffered some kind of calamity. The details, however, he never revealed, and he clearly had no wish to speak further on it. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's eyes glimmered with thought as she spoke slowly. These words sank into Wang Lin's ears. He remained silent, but his eyes betrayed deep contemplation. Perhaps this severed palm truly belongs to the immortal progenitor. If so, then who cut off the immortal progenitor's left hand? The collapse of the immortal extreme sword has countless rumors tied to it. Could that collapse somehow be connected to this severed palm? But why has this palm remained sealed within the mountain and sea tree, hidden here for countless years? Surely the grand heavenly venerables would have discovered it long ago. Why only now does it surface? And this region falls under the authority of Tao, grand heavenly venerable. With his cultivation, how could he have failed to notice? Or perhaps, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with a sharp brilliance. Perhaps Tao, along with several other grand heavenly venerables, had long known of the strange seal within the mountain and sea tree, and even its true nature, yet chose not to act rashly. Wang Lin, ever one to analyze and deduce, took a deep breath. The conclusion he had reached shook his very heart. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable, since your master is Heavenly Venerable Jyoti, why are you living here in the southern province, within the mountain and sea? Wang Lin's gaze flickered faintly as he asked, You suspect me? Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's eyes narrowed. When she looked at Wang Lin, her beautiful eyes shone with a sudden, piercing light. What a clever woman, Wang Lin thought to himself. From a single question, she had already inferred much. He offered no explanation, only watched her calmly. The stunning woman fell silent for a time, her expression shifting as if weighing many thoughts. At last, she seemed to grasp something. She suddenly lifted her head, staring upward, her eyes showing a strange light. It was my master who ordered me to come to the southern province, to make the mountain and see my abode and reside here. She furrowed her delicate brows and spoke softly. Wang Lin's eyes flickered. Her words confirmed some of his suspicions, and if they were true, then matters were far from simple. Where did you hear of a mountain and sea tree spirit dwelling here? Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable asked sharply. I heard it from a heavenly venerable under the command of great heavenly venerable Wufeng, that within this mountain and sea dwells a wood spirit. Wang Lin's eyes deepened with thought. I have come to the mountain and sea before, even established a cave abode, but I never stayed long. Then, 200 years ago, my master suddenly ordered me to remain here permanently. And you were directed here by someone under great heavenly venerable Wufeng. Yet this territory belongs to Tao, grand heavenly venerable. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's beautiful face darkened, her tone heavy. Wang Lin smiled faintly. From her words, it was clear she, too, was beginning to grasp the heart of the matter. My master used me as bait, to draw out the sealed power of the mountain and sea tree, and thus reveal this severed palm. Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable closed her beautiful eyes, speaking after a long pause. I can accept that. My master raised me, taught me the Tao. Even as bait, I hold no resentment. What puzzles me, however, is why great heavenly venerable Wufeng would take an interest in you, cleverly guiding you here. For what purpose? She opened her eyes and fixed Wang Lin with her gaze. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, and he only shook his head. But within, he had already formed a conjecture. My origins may seem ordinary in the eyes of most cultivators. Even heavenly supremes would struggle to perceive the truth. But to the grand heavenly venerables, nothing is hidden. That subordinate of great heavenly venerable Wufeng who directed me here likely had two aims, to test my identity and origin, and at the same time to pursue the same goal as heavenly venerable Jyoti. Yet heavenly venerable Jyoti, though he used his disciple as bait, was at least measured, letting Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable reside here to quietly attract the mountain and sea tree spirit. But I, having no ties with great heavenly venerable Wufeng, he has no concern for my life or death. To him, my death is nothing, as long as it verifies my identity and draws forth the severed palm. What truly concerns them is not whether I come from the abode realm, but whether I am in truth a cultivator of the ancient kingdom. For nearly 3,000 years Wang Lin had walked the cultivation path, especially within the abode realm. He had relied on careful analysis and deduction to survive crisis after crisis. He might not possess a mind born monstrous like a demon's, but his ability to weave countless clues into a single truth had long become his greatest strength. I just don't know what role the Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable is playing in all of this. Wang Lin lowered his head, a glint of icy light flashing in his eyes. If Master dares to let the Unity sect know, he must be confident. I believe that once this flaw is removed, no one will ever discover that I am the sole disciple of the Grand Heavenly Venerable Xian Luo. As long as this identity remains hidden, even if I come from the abode realm, it matters not. Still, these are only my conjectures. Lost in thought, Wang Lin lifted his head and glanced at Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable. The peerless beauty already had her eyes closed, betraying not the slightest thought upon her face. If the Grand Heavenly Venerable Judy truly uses her as bait, then she must possess something extraordinary. There is a reason behind this. Wang Lin linked his earlier suspicions together, growing somewhat certain, though one doubt remained. What secret lay between that severed palm and the immortal clan that could draw even heavenly venerables to it? Retracting his gaze, Wang Lin shut his eyes again, immersing himself in absorbing the mountain and sea tree spirit. No matter what the future held, strengthening his cultivation and combat power was the only true foundation to resolve all troubles to come. Time slipped by in this calm. In the blink of an eye, 3 more years passed. Counting the earlier days, Wang Lin and Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable had been trapped here for a total of 7 long years. During those 3 years, the blurred figure born from the severed palm appeared 9 times. Each time it emerged, it roared and struck the light screen with furious force, causing the barrier to shrink with every blow. On this day, it was the 9th strike. As the light screen quivered, faint cracking sounds could be heard, as though the barrier had reached its limit. After 3 years of contraction, and under the 9th strike of that severed palm, its range had shrunk to only 3 zhang. Within those 3 zhang, Wang Lin and Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable were pressed dangerously close, so much so that Wang Lin could smell the faint fragrance wafting from her body. 3 zhang was nothing, for Wang Lin's bone blade, if unsheathed, was itself 3 zhang long. That alone showed just how narrow the space had become. Because of this closeness, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable could no longer maintain her meditative composure. A faint blush rose on her cheeks as her eyes, often complicated when looking at Wang Lin, lingered on him more often. Just as Wang Lin could breathe in her fragrance, she too could sense the warmth emanating from his body. The range is too small. If no solution is found, this light screen could break at any time. And if it shrinks again, her complex expression turned to frustration and embarrassment. Wang Lin's brows furrowed. In his life, aside from a very few women, he had rarely been so close to a stranger, and this made him uncomfortable. The fragrance in particular made his frown deepen again and again. 7 years of forced proximity, and this Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable was no less beautiful than Mu Bingmei. The thought made Wang Lin sigh inwardly. This can't go on, his eyes flashed. Yet, just then, as the light screen contracted further and hairline cracks spread, the severed palm phantom outside reappeared. With deafening strikes, the cracking grew louder, thin fissures spreading like veins across the barrier. And with that onslaught, the light screen shrank again. 3 zhang, 2 zhang, 1 zhang. Half a zhang. With only half a zhang of space, Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable was nearly pressed against Wang Lin's right side. Their body heat, separated only by thin fabric, could be felt distinctly by both. Darkness swallowed everything around them. The severed palm beyond the barrier suddenly ceased its assault, leaving behind a suffocating silence. Only the sound of Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable's breathing lingered, clear within the light screen. Wang Lin. In the darkness, her soft voice drifted to his ear, her breath brushing warmly across his face.